Hi there, welcome to yet another episode. If you are coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Mary. Here in my channel, we do talk about family, teenagers, relationships, and education in general. Dear parent, let's have a conversation on 4 main challenges that teen boys face. So if you have watched my previous video, I did a video on the challenges that teen girls face, and I felt that I had left out the boys. And therefore, today we are going to have a conversation on the challenges that teen boys face. Please be my guest up to the end. Watch this video up to the end, it means a lot to me. Don't forget to like and share. And if you're coming across this channel for the first time, if you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing. So let's get into this conversation. So what are these main challenges that teen boys face? So the first one is on self-esteem. They really have a very low self-esteem, and especially at teenagehood. So remember, teenagehood kicks in at the start of adolescence. Once they hit that particular stage, they realize that there are a lot of things that are happening to their bodies. Their voices are breaking. Sometimes they are developing, pimples on their faces. And there are those who realize that suddenly they have grown taller even than the parents. And this is something that is going to disturb them. And therefore their self-esteem is going to be affected. And remember, for teenagers, if I am to compare the boys and the girls, for the girls it will be a bit easier, because we know naturally girls can share. They can talk out with their peers and just get a solution and understand everything that is going around them. But when it comes to boys, it will be very hard for them to share this, even with people that they trust so much. Therefore, as a parent, you should look out. Is your child suddenly becoming quiet? And here, remember, we are talking about boys. Have you realized that your son, who is a teen, is gradually, getting quiet? Like, they don't want to talk. They're so, so keen on her, on their appearance and all that. If you realize this, then know that is one of the challenges that this particular boy is experiencing, and they need someone to talk to them. And who is this person? This person could be you. As I always say, remember, you're the first person, number one, and number one. So it could be you. What of those parents who fear having such conversation with their sons? Get someone to talk to. I think I've mentioned this so many times. If you cannot do it because of one reason or the other, get someone who can help them understand that when their voices break, it is so natural. Because this is what I have observed as a teacher. Once boys hit teenagehood and their voices break, most of them, in fact, if not all of them, they'll fear even participating in classes. Let's say, like, for example, you are teaching a comprehension and you need them to read. It will be very hard. If you pick a specific boy who is experiencing this, maybe at Form 1 or at Form 2, it will be very hard for them just to want to read. And the reason is because they fear, what are the others going to, to say about their cracked voice? And they'll feel like they cannot do it. And most of the time you'll find that they just want to hide behind others so that you don't point at them. Remember, that is a challenge that is very common to boys at teenagehood. And as a parent, talk to your child. Let them know that if their voices break, it doesn't mean that they need to stop talking. Let them talk. It is part of the process, into adulthood, into, being a mature man. So let them not shy from expressing themselves. I'm also told there are those boys who, when they develop pimples on their faces, their esteem is thoroughly affected. Like, it is reduced to zero. They fear even facing someone, like just having a one-on-one conversation. It becomes very hard because in them, they have this imposter syndrome that is telling them that they are ugly, they are not looking good, and therefore they'll kind of shy off rather than even facing you as a parent. If you want to try this out, try and call out your son who is a teenager and who is experiencing this. And you're going to realize that sometimes they'll not want to talk to you. And if they talk to you, they don't want to maintain eye contact. And the reason is because of that aspect of self-esteem. It is low, and it is your duty and responsibility to ensure that they understand everything that is happening around them. The second challenge is on peer pressure. And this is where we lose it as parents if we are not careful. So being a teacher has made me have a lot of experience. Most parents leave everything to the teachers, and they forget that these children are eventually going to get out of school. They will. They'll go to Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and they'll be out of high school. So as a parent, what can you do? What are some of the signs that your son is succumbing to peer pressure? One of the signs is you'll suddenly realize that your son wants to change the mode of dressing. Like if you buy for them a specific attire, they'll just tell you no. Like I cannot wear this. It is out of fashion. Like how will I look before my friends? If you want them to cut their hair in a certain style, they'll be against it. What does that mean? It means that gradually peer pressure is sinking in this particular boy. And the only thing that you can do as a parent is to ensure that the peer pressure does not affect your child. Remember, it is a stage that will eventually go away. And therefore, you should be vigilant. Once you notice that your son is very specific on the mode of dressing, the kind of friends that they want to hang out with, even sometimes there are those who change their walking style. I have seen it. What about you? Have you ever seen a boy who was just, walking in a normal way, suddenly at teenagehood, they change their walking style? It is like they are coming up with a new style, and sometimes even you cannot even recognize them. Is this really your child? If you see those signs, know that this boy is gradually getting deep into peer pressure. And as I have said, this is the place where we are going to lose these boys. Remember, out of the boys, we want to produce men that will be responsible and fit into the community. Therefore, observe for peer pressure. Remember, peer pressure will also lead to our third challenge. Dear parent, the third challenge is on sexual activities. Peer pressure in boys is worse as compared to girls. Listen to me very careful. A boy who is at adolescent, who is a teen, will engage in sexual activities, at a very younger age as compared to a girl. And as a parent, what does that mean? It means that there are a lot of things that can happen. Either your son is going to impregnate a girl, meaning that you become a grandparent by default, or they are going to impregnate a girl and in the process also get sexually transmitted diseases. From statistics, it shows that boys become sexually active at a very young age. As compared to girls. And that is the truth of the matter. So when do they begin these sexual activities? It is at teenagehood. Once they realize that their friends are doing it, they'll be told, go and try, go test out, so that you know whether you are functioning or not. And you'll realize that you may miss out as a parent. Your son could be sexually involved with even 3 girls, 4 girls. And by the time you realize, it is already late. And it is here where everything goes south, as we say. Your son will become a sex addict. Your teen will be a sex addict. So you can imagine, as a parent, if you miss out on just knowing that your teenager is sexually active, what is the impact? And what is the the long-term impact? Apart from just the instant, what about the long-term effect? So if you are a parent to a teen boy, please do everything that you can to ensure you know whether your son has started being sexually active. Just look around. There's a video that I talked about reasons why teenagers, have a lot of disagreement with parents. And I mentioned that most teenagers do not like parents going into their bedrooms and ransacking. But the truth is, if you are a parent to a teenager, it is your duty to go there, check out. Because you need to know what your kids are doing. Sometimes, if you go to those boys' bedroom, the teen boys, you'll find condoms. This I'm speaking of what I know. You'll find condoms. You're going sometimes even you may pick photos of different girls that are stashed somewhere in the bedroom, and through that, it is going to help you as a parent to know that your son is sexually active. And it is very important for you to know if they are sexually active or not. And by you knowing, it is going to help you as a parent. And imagine your child will also get the right help that they need. Most of the teenagers, and especially the boys, most of them that are in class 7 or grade 7 up to form 4, most of them, if not all of them, they are sexually active. And you can imagine, you are a parent, you are in the dark, you don't know what is happening, you've never even looked out to just know whether your son has a girlfriend or not. Let me tell you something that is interesting, my dear parent. Have you ever thought of just checking or going through your son's phone? I know most parents have bought smartphones to for their children. Sometimes it is like just for communication and all that. But have you ever taken time just to go through the phone, go through the call record, check the messages? You're going to find out something. Look at the gallery. You're going to find out what you don't know. And it is going to be very, very helpful. Whether they will like you because of that or not, you'll be doing your duty. So dear parent, do something so that your son does not become, addicted to sex. Do something about it. Have an open conversation with them. In fact, I think it is easier with this generation of children. Talking to them, I find it very easy as a teacher and as an aunt who has nephews that are in this age bracket that I'm talking about. It is so easy to strike a conversation with them, and through the conversation you will be able to gauge and understand the people that you are dealing with, or the people that are under your roof. So dear parent to a teen boy, what do you think about this conversation? If you have a teen boy or a nephew, what do you think about this conversation? Please let us learn together to ensure that we save this generation for the future. Remember, we want to create men out of these boys. We don't want just to have those, boys. Someone will just grow with some funny characters. When they become adults, they still have the same characters. Finally, boys are at a great danger. And this one is on drug and substance abuse. Through statistics, it has shown that when in teenagehood, boys are the ones that are mostly affected by just taking drugs, or if you want to doing drugs and substance. So we have we have a lot of drugs that are out there. A lot. We have bangi. In Kenya here we call it bangi. That is marijuana, something like that. We have cocaine down at the coasts. we have heroin, we have these other stuffs that they usually, sniff and all that, and they are available everywhere. So please, dear parent, observe your son. Observe your son. Look out for symptoms that your son could be a drug addict. What are some of the symptoms that you can look out for? Number one is withdrawing from the family and friends. Most of the drug addicts usually withdraw from people, and especially family and friends. It is like they just want to be in their own world. If you come to note that your son is withdrawn, then there's a problem. And one of the major problem or major causes is on drug and substance abuse. Parents, there's something else that is of concern. Pocket money. How much do you give your son? How much do you give your son as pocket money when they go to school? How is that money used? Have you ever asked yourself, do they really need that money? Like a lot. Do they need all that money? And if you were to look at it critically, you'll realize that maybe that money is being used on drug and substance abuse. And as a parent, that should be a clear indicator that the money that you're giving to your son, that you're pumping to your son, is not going to help them. It's not going to be of any value to them. Rather, it is going to contribute on them, just derailing from the norms of the society. If you're giving out your son a lot of pocket money that is not necessary, then ask yourself, where do all that money go to? Is it just for buying bread in school? Or maybe whatever the school is, sells in the canteen? Or could you be giving out money that is going to be used on drugs? And it is so common. We are living in a generation where getting drugs is not hard. They are available everywhere, in every village, towns. You will get people who do sell drugs to students and all that. And your son will be affected if you are not keen. Which is the other sign for you to look out so that you can know whether your son is a drug addict or not. The other sign is the type of friends that they hang out with. Check out on the friends. At least you'll not miss out something. And then check out, where does your son frequent? And especially when they are at home during school holidays. Where do they like frequenting, visiting, in which neighborhoods? And you'll realize that there's a reason why your son prefers to go to a certain place as compared to another place. So my dear parents, I hope you find this video educative and informative. Please, if you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing and kindly watch the video up to the end. It means a lot to me. Like the video so that YouTube can push the video to so many parents. Let them also benefit from my channel. Please watch the video up to the end. And as parents, let us remain vigilant so that we do not lose our children in the process. Thank you for your time and goodbye.